Well, Sean is a fresh of breath air. He just loved chain restaurants. Matter of fact, he ate at Applebee's 12 times during the bye week.
I love each and most of you guys.
That really is still swollen, isn't it? It kind of looks like a football, actually.
Thank you for that.
The stitching, you got it.
Thank you.
Well,
Hey, D, I like donuts, baby. Let's go.
Stay focused. Work hard in school. You might not like school, but make sure you're working hard at school.
Them bills are bomb. Them bills are bomb.
It's your boy DM3, and you're listening to the Witty Not Funny Sports Podcast on the Built in Buffalo Podcast Network.
Witty Nation. Welcome, everyone, to Witty Not Funny Sports Live, the number one self-rated Buffalo sports show covering the Bills, Sabres, entertainment, and everything in between. And as always, part of the Built in Buffalo Network. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter at WittySports716 right there. Make sure you give us a follow. Make sure you check out everything Built in Buffalo is giving you every single day with the best Bills content out there at builtinbuffalo_. And if you were watching on YouTube or Facebook, make sure you take a second, hit that like, show us some love. We really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to Witty Not Funny Sports Live. Also, make sure you check out the Witty Not Funny Sports store, teespring.com. Search Witty Not Funny, all one word, or Google search Teespring Witty Not Funny, all one word. First result there. And check out all the awesome designs we have in the store, from our He-Wolf design to our Dalton Kincaid Doot to the one I am currently wearing, our Allen Club, because Josh Allen is so good. We got to support Josh Allen, of course. Make sure you check out all our awesome designs, t-shirts, sweatshirts, crew necks, awesome gift for the holidays for your Bills Mafia loved one, family, and friends. Make sure you support us and support the show today. We are your hosts, of course. I am Matt. He is Tony. Tony, how's it going today?
Matt, as I was doing this, am I in like a fish lens situation here? When I was pointing down, I'm like, that seems bigger than it will. Yeah, like you do it. You do it and see is yours. Yeah, yours is not like mine. I think
you're like in a Jamiroquai video.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm in like a weird fish lens situation that you're not in. This is trippy.
Futures made of virtual insanity. Trippy is the theme of the week, I guess, because the Bills lost, got tripped up, and the whole world's ending. And we'll talk about, of course, the Bills' loss and how it raises some questions, let's say, for the rest of the season. Tony, you have a song to indulge us with to start?
Oh, sure.
Episode? Yeah, give it to us.
Yeah, what a good intro. It is about the loss aforementioned.
Whoa.
God rest ye Buffalo Bills, you let in scores all day. Puka Nakua waltzed all around on national TV. At the end, Josh drove too deep, the difference of one play. The pain will continue to completely annoy. The pain of loss will still annoy.
Nice.
Matt, that's God rest you, very gentlemen. It's a Christmas
I actually
song.
know that one. It's a Christmas song. For those who don't know, yes, it is a Christmas song.
Matt, did we go to the same church growing up?
St. Mary's on the Hill.
You went to St. Mary's on the Hill? I did not. Okay, never mind.
Okay,
I was wondering if you went to. Okay.
You were down the hill?
Yeah, I was down. I was worshiping down the hill.
Okay. Oh, nice. Tony, the Bills lost. We'll talk about it in a little bit. The Sabres stink. I don't even feel like we need to talk about them because they're so bad for the 13th straight year. So we can just bypass the Sabres for the time being until they get good when we're like 80 years old again. I was trying to find things to connect and open the show with here, and all I found was random stories and mostly like negative and just kind of down stories, and a lot like the Bills lost. Just it's a downer of a week. Like Bill Belichick is back at North Carolina, which is crazy. He must have needed his girlfriend to get into grad school, so he had to power play. You got to respect that. You know, his girlfriend got denied from grad schools throughout the country, and he made a move. He made a move to help his girlfriend.
Right. It's probably like, he gets free. It's probably like a health insurance thing when they go to the on campus.
It's a health insurance,
like a health office. Like what would you call it? What's the on campus like nurse's office called? The infirmary.
It is called the infirmary in college. Yes. The drunk bust.
Okay. No, well, that's not what I'm talking. I'm not talking about the drunk. No.
I know what you're not talking about.
We get what I'm talking about. You
I
go
know
there,
what
you
you're
get like
talking about.
tested for stuff, and we know.
You get free condoms. Yeah, I got you.
Oh wow. Okay, hotshot over here, Ohio State. Condoms are free in Ohio, I guess.
All you gotta do is ask, Tony. What's the worst I can say? No.
That's game as far as I'm concerned.
What else happened? Randy Moss battling some medical things. It's all bad this week. It's just bad week. And of course, of the story that I'm seeing all on Twitter from everyone. Some random girl in Europe slept with 100 guys in one day, which Will Chamberlain on notice. 100-point game.
Look, everyone processes the loss of the grief of the loss in their own way.
Yes. So I thought, I don't even want to say in honor of her, inspired by her. I thought
it's an honor.
It's an honor, I guess. It's an honor to be a segment on our show. I thought we would, for the 100 guys you saw, but name the top 100 Bills receivers of all time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So for the next 17 hours,
right,
we'll be talking about the 100 greatest Bills receivers of all time, starting at 100, of course, because we want to build up to it. That's why. So Tony, let's kick it off. My number 100th greatest receiver of all time in Bills organizational history, Kalen Clay. For anybody who doesn't know,
I remember Kalen Clay. Yes.
Do you? Oh wow, that's
of course
from the past. It's a deep pull. He was part of the Panthers pipeline, but in reverse. Like he started with the Bills, then went to the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, talk about efficiency. This guy had 6 catches in his career. 5 of those catches were for first downs. I mean, why didn't this guy get a shot? That is as efficient can be.
You know, that's why he made it down there. Like, I remember all this hype that there was going to be like, well, Kalen Clay is like the sleeper of the year. Kalen Clay is going to do like all this stuff that
off-season darling.
Right. Yeah. He's an off-season darling. And then he's going to go and it's like, well, by default, he's going to be like great in Carolina, and he'll be like the new how would you put it? Like the new
Tavon Austin.
Yeah, the new Tavon Austin is a great way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, like the jerk Kalen Clay is, and that's why he's number 100 here. One of those 6 catches in his career was made in a Bills uniform. He saved all the good stuff for Carolina. He saved all those 5 other good catches for Carolina. What a jerk!
Yeah, that's how you do it.
So disrespectful to the team. Tony, do you have a number 100 or?
My number 100 is actually. So I'm not measuring it by greatness, but if I'm measuring it by personal favoritism, I'm going with Kwame Khalil, a wide receiver I loved in my childhood, a camp darling under Wade Phillips' regime. Wade Phillips called him the steal of the draft, and I was like, that doesn't even make sense. I had already decided I loved him, and I'm like, that doesn't even make sense because he was not drafted. 8 targets, 4 receptions.
Pretty good, 50% catch rate.
Pretty good, yeah. Pretty good for his season, but man, he was cool. He was really blowing it up in the first year ever at Fisher.
Right.
But he was also more importantly, more historically, his autograph card was the first thing I ever bought on eBay.
For how much?
Probably 80 cents, I want to say. That's
bargain
out of my mind. Yeah. Oh, you're damn right. It's a bargain.
I know how to find them. 82 cents now. Wow.
Right.
Kwame Khalil, Texas darling. He just goes into like the pantheon of like preseason wide receivers, running backs. Like we always thought would be something if they got a shot, and just never accumulated in anything. Kwame Khalil, that's a good one. All right, my number 99 is a man near and dear to my heart, of course, because he went to Ohio State, led Ohio State to much success back in the day as a quarterback, transitioned to wide receiver in the NFL because actually he wasn't a very good quarterback. And that is Terrell Pryor, Bill's great.
Terrell Pryor's pretty good.
Probably the most random guy ever to have a 1,000-yard season in the NFL.
I'm very surprised that we're putting him at 99. I think he's like maybe in the 40s or 50s. Like he's a middling guy.
Wow, really? Well, this is just for his Bills career, so he didn't do much of anything.
I guess that's true. Okay, I guess that's true.
As a Bill, he started one game, played in two, 0 catches. Like I said, he had a 1,000-yard season.
Right. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
As a Cleveland Brown.
Right.
I'm sorry, he had 2 catches for the Bills. I undersold him. I'm sorry, Terrell Pryor.
So you got me. What you got me on here? You got me looking at. I'm looking at the rankings of Bills receivers, but I don't exactly know what it's ranked by. But then I ranked it by position, and I'm looking at like the random not offensive position or not receiver positions that have registered receptions, and this is pretty easy. So one thing that stuck out to me here. In the 60s, in 1962 and 63, 13 receptions, 149 yards by Wayne Crow. Guess what position?
What position?
Punter.
Quarterback? Oh, Wayne Crow. Is he your 99?
I think if that, yeah, he's my 99.
He qualifies.
Okay, so he does qualify. All right, so now there was different things happening there. Okay, yeah. But, I mean, 13 receptions, 149 yards. That's a good day. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good for a punter. I'm not eating crow here.
No, absolutely not. No. Wayne Crow. What a great name, by the way.
Wayne Crow is a great name.
We could have done some damage if Wayne Crow was playing.
I know.
During present day on the show.
He's probably like this super freak athletic guy.
I love
what is this?
I love these pictures of Wayne Crow because.
Oh, you looked it up? Okay.
Oh yeah, of course I looked it up.
Great.
I feel like his football card back in the day. Is just like every other football card during that time, like how it looks, like random guy kicking a football, even though, like you could have been any position, it would just be. Do a pose as you're kicking a football. that's going to be put on the football card. That's all the only pose photographers knew how to do. So let me ask you this, Tony.
Okay.
Wayne Crow versus Terrell Pryor. Pretty even. Was Wayne Crow? Did Wayne Crow get in trouble for illegally handling memorabilia like Terrell Pryor? No.
No, there's only one Bill who did that.
Right, OJ.
Yeah.
So Terrell Pryor, not the first former Bill to get Bills player to get in trouble for illegally handling memorabilia. That's a steamed company there, Terrell Pryor. You and OJ.
Well, it's a theme I'm noticing now.
Yes, and also is Wayne Crow currently suing his former alma mater, arguing that former players should get NIL money.
Oh, that's an interesting argument.
Yeah, right. I thought so.
Yeah.
How bad is Terrell Pryor off that he needs to argue? Should he be getting NIL money for a career he had 15 to 20 years ago?
I mean, yeah. Wait, Terrell Pryor has this lawsuit in?
Yeah.
Is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be in a situation
hard times. Ray Davis, hard times.
Well, okay, I guess. He's not screwed by the system, though, is the thing.
True, yes. I feel like I was thinking about this. Ray Davis needs to remember the Nathan For You episode where he hires that like fake bodybuilder guy to create a moving company fitness program.
Yeah.
I feel like Ray Davis needs to adopt that, create a fake fitness program, and call it the system. That would sell so good.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, something called this. Yeah, yeah. I like this idea. Yeah.
Yes.
Probably gonna give Peloton a run for its money.
Yeah. Ray Davis is the system. It's like the new Tybo. You can get Billy Blanks. Him and Billy Blanks just doing the system.
Right. Matt, what is, if it's listed as position FL, what is that?
Good question. What do you
lineman?
think FL means? Free lineman. Ooh, interesting.
I don't know. I'm completely guessing. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, okay, so the reason that I asked, so I ranked it.
Fast lad. Because I'm guessing FL was an old position.
Right.
And people back then were called lads.
The fast lad. Yeah.
So I'm trying to fast lad.
So I took all the rankings of every Bill who ever had a reception.
Okay.
And then I took only the players who like are not in like offensive skill positions. So I took them out of it. And so the number one by far is another guy who played 60 to 68 in 103 games, position FL. His name was Albert Dubenian.
Name sounds super familiar.
294 receptions, 5,294 yards as an FL. But the other FL, so I'm like, okay, seems like he would normally get receptions. The other FLs, there's two other FLs listed. They have 31 receptions and 24 receptions, respectively. Although 24 receptions, this guy was only a year. So maybe it's like a fullback kind of position.
Yeah, maybe it's a fullback kind of position.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, I'm going to take them. I'm taking them
history
out
of the FL. All right. Let's move to my 98.
Yes, do it.
That's a player that is near and dear to your heart, Tony. Near and dear to Bill's Mafia. And that's, of course, Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just an awful receiver who was never a good receiver. And the reason he lands on 98 for me is because he tried to infiltrate the inner circle. Let's get real here. He tried to brainwash Josh Allen, our king, and he was successful because it got him a contract. The shirt you see Dalton Kincaid wearing on the sideline, which has Josh in the glasses and the chains, those are MVS's glasses and chains Josh is wearing. Like, MVS was a thing for a hot second. Like, he was over to Josh's house having dinner. He really brainwashed Josh into getting an NFL contract, and turned out to be the worst receiver in recent memory. The Bills have.
That's a strong statement. We've had some bad receivers in recent memory.
I mean, okay, let's play would you
Okay.
MVS or David Sills V? Who might be your 98?
MVS.
Okay.
Again, it depends on how are we measuring greatness here, but okay, go on.
MVS or Jake Kumaro?
Kumaro, a million times.
Of course, right? Yeah, and Kumaro had, how many catches do you think Jake Kumaro had in his Bills career?
20.
20. As a Buffalo Bill, he had 7 catches.
Damn.
That's how bad MVS was. You would take Jake Kumaro and his 7 catches over MVS.
Jake Kumaro brought production in other ways. That's why I take him.
He did. That's right. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, you tried to brainwash my quarterback, and I don't like you for it. Tony, your number 98.
My number 98, I'm going to go with another very hyped up receiver that seemingly we thought maybe greatness was on the horizon, or we thought this is stupid. And that's Clarence Coleman from our childhood.
Oh, wow. Clarence Coleman.
Wow. He ends up with 8 receptions for 69 yards in a Bills uniform and through 14 games. But man, it was like, oh, we got Clarence Coleman. Like, that's it. He's super. He was supposed to be super good.
Pride of Ferris State.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like so in so many ways, Clarence Coleman is representative of the difference of like drought to Bean. Of like Bean would take someone with the exact same story as Clarence Coleman, and we wouldn't disrespect them.
Right, that's a good point.
Like, yeah, like it would just be, it would be like, all right, yeah, like our expectations are low. We know they're talented. Maybe eventually something, but we don't think maybe necessarily anything. Clarence Coleman comes in and he's like, well, if he's not going to be a Hall of Famer, it's up to the Bills to make him a Hall of Famer, and anything short of that is a failure.
That's a good point. Yes, great name, CC. Good nicknames. Clarence Coleman. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a perfect way to put it. If he was a Brandon Bean era player,
right,
he could probably be something. He could have been like the Robert Foster.
Yeah.
Of like the past, if you would. Really could have really missed out on Clarence Coleman. All right, Tony, you ready for 97?
Oh, sure. Let's do 97. Yeah, you're 97.
All right.
Approximately 10 hours later.
And thank you for sticking with us, everyone, for these past 7 hours as we name the Bills' top 100 receivers. We are up to our top 3 Bills receivers of all time. Tony, at number 3, a little bit of a curveball for me.
Okay.
I have a guy who many maybe not considered like the best receiver Bills had, but I just think of his impact on the culture, and that is Mr. SJ himself, SJ13, Stevie Johnson.
Mm-hmm. You meant the culture of Bills Mafia at large.
Right. He was he was almost the creator, the OG of Bills Mafia culture. I picked Stevie because not only was he a great player on the field during an era and a time that was nothing but darkness for Bills fans. He was just, as Robert Royal put it, a fresh of breath air, because we didn't have anybody who had a coolness factor or a swagger. And here comes Stevie, late round pick out of Kentucky. Many didn't think he'd even make the team, let alone be an impactful player. And he changed the game. He was really, really good. He just came at the right time when people were miserable and needed something to be excited about. And he brought that swagger. He brought that coolness that the team desperately needed for the time. And he was a really good player to boot. Like he had a really good career for this team. And he's one of my favorite Bills of all time because of it.
Same. Love Stevie. Love every story I ever heard around town about Stevie. Love the rapping. Love the style. It gave us hope that, like, in a time where we weren't drafting well, in a time where there wasn't players to get behind, Stevie was universally, like, he got us and we got him. A 7th round pick that everyone knew was like, it was only a matter of time. We wanted to give him a chance because he's cool. He captured our hearts and minds. And
he really did.
Really, like at a time then, like, he's ushering in, he's the best man coming down the aisle, the turn before Fitz.
Yes.
And then it's like, now we have another fun. Now we got like a whole thing going where the team is fun.
And we got Fitz, we got Stevie.
Fun. Yeah. Now Fitz is fun. Stevie's here. They're making it for each other. Everything was clicking. Like, that was
right. They're dressing up like Chan for Halloween. It was fun.
That was springtime in Buffalo after a long, cold winter.
Right. I feel like we talk about Stevie almost in the same way we talk about Josh Allen, of like, I can't believe Josh Allen is the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills because of how good he is on the field. Like, I never thought we'd have that good of a player play for the Buffalo Bills. I talked about Stevie the same way back then, but in a different way of like, I can't believe we had a guy that was that cool who played for the Buffalo Bills, because the guy just oozed coolness. So Stevie gets my number 3. Tony, who's your number 3 greatest Bills receiver of all time?
So how to measure this? Let's see. I'm going to say he's one of the greatest Bills receivers of all. He's one of the greatest receivers ever to put on a Bills uniform.
Yep.
He's brought an energy that brought a buy-in to the early Bean days I'm saying future Hall of Famer Anquan Boldin.
Oh yes.
Career-wise,
really
how do you end it? How do you argue? You can't.
Really, when you talk about Buffalo legacy, his son is playing for the UV Bulls basketball team.
Absolutely right.
I mean, to say Buffalo didn't have an impact on Anquan Boldin and vice versa is a complete farce.
Is a complete lie.
Yes.
It's the Boldins. It's the Gores.
Yes.
It's the Felinos.
Yep. The Fusillos. R.I.P. Billy.
The Fusillos. It's Buffalo sports royalty, top to bottom.
Right. It's who are the power families of Buffalo? The Fusillos, the Salvatores, and the Boldins. Those are the big three.
Yes, those are the big three, right?
Yes.
But really, were there any other father-son tandems in Buffalo sports?
I don't think so, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Josh's future son.
Right. Yes, obviously. Right.
Obviously.
Right.
Obviously. Yeah. I'm sure there's some like father-son fisherman combo.
Right.
Out there from Buffalo. That's like really good.
Fisherman combo. I would say, how about it could have been who
Antoine Winfield and Antoine Winfield Jr.
Oh yeah, that would have been good. Yeah, you're right. Like the Pittsburgh does this like all the time. We're behind the game on this one.
Yeah, we could have done Joey Porter Jr. Yeah,
we could have been all over that.
Father-son tandems.
Yeah, the Antoine Winfield. Yeah, that was a letdown that we didn't get Antoine Winfield. I was hoping.
I know, and I wanted to draft him because it's really good.
No, I was trying to say if Jason Kroom worked out with Pagula, that would have been a great one.
Nepotism at its finest, right there.
Well, talent is talent. Okay.
Talent is talent.
We know there's great athleticism running through the Pagula blood.
Right, there is. My number 2, as we move on here, is a kind of a guy who upsets me as I think about him, because if you look at his career stats, 9,995 yards total for his career. Could not get that 5 yards. I have been campaigning for the Bills to re-sign him and just have like, when that like student coach in high school gets put in the final game and they give him like a 5-yard run.
Right.
Do that with this guy. Give him the 10,000 yards he deserves. That, of course, is Eric Moulds. Mm-hmm. Sign him for a day, put him in, have an agreement with the other team you're playing. Hey, we're going to do a 5-yard out route, get him his 10,000 yards, then we're going to take a false start penalty, and it'll be all the same.
Yeah.
It'll be all the same in the end. Like, just make that happen, Buffalo Bills, to get this man his 10,000 yards. Actually, Eric Moulds, great career. Really a guy ahead of his time. Like, I feel like he really didn't take off and get noticed until like Drew Bledsoe came around, and it's like, oh, okay. Like now we can see what Eric Moulds is capable of, and even like the later Kelly years, it's like, okay, his first 2 years as a rookie and his second year in the NFL, he didn't really do much. He had like 20 catches, and then he kind of like, well, we got something here. Why don't we use this freak of an athlete? And he really was.
So I have to accuse you of misinformation.
Oh, please do.
Well, I'm on Pro Football Reference, and it says 9,096 yards.
That's just as a Buffalo Bill. I'm talking about his whole career.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. Okay. Okay.
You're right. We're both right.
Okay. We're both right.
Okay.
I just saw you like
pay attention to the facts on this show.
Yep, absolutely we do.
Nothing but real facts. Like Gabe Davis needs glasses. That's a real fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we pay attention to on this show.
This is insane what I'm seeing here. 1,187 targets as a Bill.
Yeah.
The number 2 player who is about to get drafted in this, 791. He's 400 targets past the number 2. Like that is crazy how vital he was in the offense for 9 years.
In one season, he had 180 targets.
Oh my god.
That's insane.
That's crazy. Because number 2 at 791 targets was over the course of 15 years. Eric Moulds over the
God.
course of 9 years.
He was a workhorse for sure.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And he's really good. So he definitely gets
really
my number
good.
2. And he's been in the news lately for all the wrong reasons as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, I saw that. I mean,
as he's getting sued.
1 in 6 Americans have this issue, and the majority of them don't even know that they have the issue.
That's true. That is true.
That's
I saw the story, and if for those who don't know the story, look up Eric Moulds and click recent news stories, and you'll see what we're talking about. My first thought was not anything related to the story at hand, but he trains with Khalil Shakir, the He-Wolf. Is Khalil Shakir okay? That was what I was concerned about.
I'm hoping
that our dear He-Wolf, Khalil.
I'm hoping that there's a lot of
distance.
No, what do you call it?
Hand washing.
No, yeah,
sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer. Purell. I'm hoping there's a lot of Purell involved in this.
Better be a Diddy party up in there with how much Purell.
Hands and face Purell.
Oh, but yes, every just showering in Purell during those training sessions, Khalil, please make it happen. All right, Tony, you're number 2 greatest receiver of all time, Bills history.
Well, it's tough because I'm actually letting you draft the actual top 3. Like, I think the top 3 are pretty universally locked in, right? So
yes,
I'll say I'll choose another great, should be Hall of Famer if you ask me.
Yeah,
and his receptions demonstrated that he has maybe the softest hands in the history of the league. So I have to go with number 95 himself, Kyle Williams.
Ah, nice. I thought you were gonna go.
He corralled that ball.
Go with Ryan Denny because he
but that has to
2
be
catches.
The Ryan Denny that Ryan Denny reception that we all like picture. I mean, that has to be everyone's. Like, that's got to be in everyone's
childhood dream.
Top 10 or top 5 best plays of the drought, right? Like, that was legendary. That scene is tattooed in our brains.
I feel like it holds, because Ryan Denny had 2 touchdown catches, if I believe, and both were on fake special teams plays, fake punts and fake field goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when we look back at those, like, we give all the credit to Brian Moorman because he's such a darling.
Right.
Like, I don't think of those as Ryan Denny, like, nice play, Ryan Denny. I'm like, wow,
no,
great job,
it's
Brian Moorman.
like easily forgettable. It could have been anybody. It's easily forgettable that it was
just elevated.
Right.
Yeah, like, but Moorman is like, yes, Brian Moorman, because we love Brian Moorman.
Right.
We always elevate him and his role in the play over Ryan Denny, who actually like made the catch. So it was just funny like that. Kyle Williams, though, good pick.
Kyle Williams, great receptions.
I was thinking of Kyle Williams the other day because I was thinking of his touchdowns, and I'm thinking, like, have the Bills like abandoned Kyle Williams since his playing days?
Or has Kyle Williams abandoned the Bills?
That's the question. Yeah. I don't know. He just seems like so. You think he would be like one of these legends of the game?
Yeah, I know.
He ever has been.
He probably doesn't. He's probably just like, where do they live?
I don't like Louisiana. I don't know.
Yeah, they probably
definitely not here.
They probably live in Louisiana. So he's probably like, I don't want to interrupt the school year for my 18 kids. That.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
I guess it just seems like he should, like, for as like vital of a figure as he was during the drought years, like, he was really the only guy we could consistently grasp onto as like, oh, he's actually a good player. And
him and Brian Moorman.
Him and Brian Moorman. We want to see the best for them. It just seems like he's kind of disappeared. He's a wisp in the willows, or willow in the wisps. Whatever the saying is.
Right. He really has kind of disappeared. He'll come back for his Wall of Fame induction.
We'll see. I think the Wall of Fame is nixed in the new stadium.
No,
I think it's going to be like I think they're going to have like a Hall of Fame section.
Me too, and it will be visible in the ring of the entire.
I think it's going to be like a separate thing.
Based on what? You think this based on what? Like, what are we talking about here? Just based on nothing?
No. based on like the fact that they're like $500 million over budget, so that money's got to go somewhere. It's not going to go. It's
already paid for. They have the letters.
It's not going to go to names on a wall. I mean, they already have the letters, but I don't know. You could auction off those letters. Who wouldn't want a Kyle? Who wouldn't want an OJ Simpson J?
I was gonna say, I'm like, there's a lot of A's in Abramowski. I would take an A.
Yeah, there's a lot of A's that people would want. All right, my number one as we wrap it up. I was going to go. You told me and the viewers here that I was doing the real list, and the real list would be Andre Reed,
right,
as number one. But Andre's had an amazing career, Hall of Fame career, All Pro multiple times, Pro Bowler multiple times, cameos on MacGyver and Hawaii Five-0, and like what an esteemed acting career Andre Reed has had as well. But we got to do it, Tony, and I have to do it because it's just this is the way, Mandalorian style.
Take me there.
Khalil Shakir, greatest receiver in Bills history already.
Yep. Based on receptions, he's ranked 47. Yep. Based on vibes, he's ranked number 1.
Absolutely. 47 in stats, number 1 in our hearts. Khalil Shakir. No, I mean, what haven't we said that needs to be said moving forward? He's awesome. He proves it every week. He did it this week as well, as we'll talk about with this Rams game and the future of the Buffalo Bills here. He's just he's become the guy that when we are in a jam, when we need a play, I'm like, Shakir's going to be open here, and he is, and he's like Mr. Reliable.
Yeah, when the going gets tough, Shakir gets going.
He does, absolutely, and that's why he's my number 1, because he's the he-wolf, and he will always be awesome. And they better sign him to an extension, or I will. You don't even want to know.
Yeah, this will.
You think people jumping into the pit was bad? Just wait to see what I do. If the Bills do not extend Khalil,
you think that new stadium budget's bad? It's about to double by what I'm going to do to that place.
Tony, was
quite
your
a mess
number 1
to clean up. Oh, well, you didn't take Andre Reed, and that was stupid of you. So I'll take Andre Reed.
All right.
For all the reasons you just mentioned, you can't miss that. He got married later in life, and that's beautiful. He is tall, and there were always a bunch of stories about him dancing at Sonny's from when the camp was in Fredonia.
Not only Sonny's, but also Bayou down in Chippewa. I saw him multiple times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, bottle service VIP for Andre.
See, well, some Andre for Andre?
Well, Andre for Andre.
I hope so.
Who knows what that all-purpose over the middle sauce is? Nobody knows.
It's just
saying.
His fiance, his wife. Yeah.
His wife.
He is a man of many talents. He's very good. So many yards, 13,095 yards in red, white, and blue.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing.
He's
career.
Andre Reed.
He's Andre Reed.
I would say I would argue he's the second least problematic of the 90s legends.
Who was the first least problematic?
I think Thurman. I think Thurman is absolutely. You can't have a problem with Thurman.
Thurman is like Thurman is great because he's so what's the word I'm looking for? Like disconnected from like his legacy.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't even want to like acknowledge it. Like for example, I went to years and years ago, like 10 years ago or so, I went to a local sports symposium, TED Talk kind of thing on local sports economics and whatnot. And there was a panel, and Thurman was on it. It was one of 4 people. It was like the AD of UB and all these other local sports figures for the time. And Thurman was just like, "Hi, I'm Thurman Thomas. I used to play for the Bills. Now I own an electric company," or something. Like so nonchalant about like, I'm a Hall of Fame player. I have the most all-purpose yards in Bills history. Like all this like stuff. He's like, I used to play football. Now I own an electric company. I don't really know why I'm here. Because I own an electric company. That was his like thing. and then he started a restaurant at Batavia Downs, and like he's just so disconnected from like Buffalo Bills legend Thurman Thomas.
That's the thing, yeah. Like it feels like he thinks he's not supposed to like he thinks he's like, yeah, I'm like I used to play for the Bills, but like I'm one of 1,000 that used to play for the Bills. Like that's not special.
Right.
Like, I'm one of 1,000 Bills.
That's how he thinks of it.
Yeah, like it almost feels like he's like, you go to the high school football game and in the stands are, like a quarter of the people in the stands used to play for the team.
Right.
But they're not thinking like yeah, but like they're anything special or any different than anyone else in the stands.
Right.
Because they
like
used to
the
play for the
Thurman,
team.
like the Thurman, the ultimate goal was to make the NFL, which 1,000 people have done. Thousands of people have done. So he just thinks he's like one of thousands of people.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that's where his accomplishments peaked.
Right.
Because that's the goal for so many people, is just to make it into the NFL, be part of a team, make it in the league. So it's just very funny to think about. So that is our list. Thank you for everyone for sticking with us. That is our list of 100 top Bills receivers of all time, all 7 hours. We did it, folks. Tony, it was
exhausting.
Oh my gosh, we had a lot of memories. We had a lot of good memories, a lot of good names brought up.
Man,
during this time.
When that stretch where we went 45 minutes on Donald Jones.
Oh my goodness.
Things got really fired up.
Things got heated.
Over Donald Jones.
I still don't know what happened to him on One Bills Live.
On the show. I know.
What happened? They
don't bring up don't open old wounds.
The old stage hook. Get off the stage.
Yeah.
Played him off. I don't know what happened. He just disappeared one day. Donald Jones will never forget. Yeah, that was a heated argument during our, what was that? Was it the third, fourth hour?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Oof, man. It was a marathon. Thank you everyone for sticking with us. Please comment on your favorite Bills receiver or least favorite Bills receiver of all time. Let us know who you think, if we got our list right. And thank you again for sticking with us for the past 7 hours plus here as we went through our top 100 Bills receivers of all time. That was fun. We'll have to do it again with another position.
Next week we'll do running back.
Next, long snappers. Top 100 long snappers in Bills history. Not Reed Ferguson after this past Sunday. Tony, number 1 of 1 on the Bills' greatest coaches list. We got to send it to Marv Levy. You ready to send it to Marv and talk some Bills Rams?
Let's send it to Marv.
Send it to Marv. Marv, take it away. We'll be back after the break.
So go, Bills fight, Bills go. Come on, let's win for Buffalo.
And we are back. Tony, let's talk about this past week. Bills Rams, another game for the ages with this high scoring, no defense affair. And we'll talk later on about this Lions game coming up, another big game for the Bills. But as we always do, we have to start off with the So Bad It's Good review. Tony, are you ready?
Let me grab my pen here. I'm ready.
Hit the music. Week 14. Do you feel like a defense when you get pushed around? Do you feel better now as Josh Allen crosses the goal line? Well, I'll tell you, my friends, one day this season's going to end as your line tumbles down. New problems we have found. Everybody was in LA, and Sean McDermott was seen red as Matt Stafford's arm apparatus had the Bills defense line face down. Ass up, that's the way we like to get. Casey 2 Live Crew Hill and the Bills defensive line had trouble stopping Kyron Williams-Sonoma, who was banging the pots and pans to the sound of 2 touchdowns. Khalil Shakir and Culkin was having a succession of greatest Bills receivers ever as he made max play after max play, and Taylor wrapping paper was Rasul Douglas's secret Santa this year, gifting him every kid's hot gift. No, not a Turbo Man, but some broken ribs. The Bills jingled and jangled all the way to the West Coast and lose 44-42 to the Rams. There was so much scoring, you would think these players were spending the day with Lily Phillips, and the Bills moved to 10-3 on the season. Tony, quick, So Bad It's Good review, because there was a lot of bad.
Yep.
It was really a 50-50 game. There was a lot of good on the offense, a lot of bad on the defense. It was really a tale of two sides of the coin, if you will.
It was true, and it was so bad it was good.
It was so bad it was good. It was
Like
so
this
bad
is the it was so bad it was good because there was so much good and it was so bad. I missed the blowouts.
So let's light a candle. Let's raise. They lost. It's over. The season's over. Just cut it. It's done. The Bills lost. Everybody.
We're not good.
We're not good. We stink. It was all fake.
Drought 2 is coming.
Drought 2.0 is here.
It began today. It began this week.
It began on Sunday. Everybody is freaking out. I love this team has gotten so good that a single loss is like doomsday. It's like the scene in Bruce Almighty.
We scored 42
and he goes
points.
outside. Barrels on fire. Why should we even watch this team anymore?
Why should we even do this recording?
Why should we even do this show anymore? This show is going to become, come January, this show is going to be a Severance only show.
Yeah, you're 100% correct about that. That's for sure.
Because that's all we'll be talking about.
Yep.
Severance season 2.
January 15th.
Anyway, January 15th. I feel like I'm in a Severance. My innie is like, oh no, the Bills lost. It's all over. It's terrible. All these problems arise. The Rams finally expose the Bills for what they truly are. All the teams have the blueprint now on how to beat the Bills. And then my Audi's like, slow your roll. This is 10-3. This is the reality. Josh Allen is a mega star playing his best football of his career. And as long as we have him, we have a chance to win. And we're still really, really good.
It's so easy to counter everything that you said, especially like the Rams have the blueprint. The Rams had the blueprint because they executed successfully on every single play the entire time. That's not a blueprint for teams. In that's an anomaly. That's crazy to think, like the way that they did that. Because if they're saying their blueprint is to dominate time of possession, keep Josh off the field, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to have success against our defense that often. Just if you're just any team,
right?
You would have to have.
You're right. You're right. It was a complete anomaly. Like everything the Rams did, they executed on. Like not a single drop pass, not a single blown blocking assignment, not a single they just clicked on every way. Like some of those catches Puka Nacua was making were absolutely incredible. And if you give him 10 chances to make that same catch, he probably doesn't catch it 8 out of 10 times. Even like the Cooper Kupp touchdown when he catches it on his leg, very like David Tyree-esque catching it on his helmet. Like it's just everything seemed to be going wrong for the Bills. That doesn't excuse the fact that the defense played really bad. Blown assignments. There was guys open on the Rams all day. The run defense continues to be something to monitor and be suspicious of because they weren't very good. So I think there's, again, like I said, there's things, we're not going to talk about the X's and O's of this game, but there's things to take away, bigger picture things to take away that either have cause for concern moving on as we get into the playoffs and move forward in this season, or to be really happy about and be optimistic about. So I think the big thing to me is, as I mentioned, if you have Josh Allen, you have a chance to win. Because again, he was absolutely incredible this game, really putting the team on his back. 6 total touchdowns he accounted for, 3 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns. If anyone out there has the Josh Allen bet card of 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns and won $1 bazillion, please let us know.
Yeah,
that was because the odds of that had to be insane. But it just I love it because, you know what, in a weird way, because I always thought the 1 seed was out of the question because the Chiefs have a horseshoe up their butt and they just seem to win in every weird way possible this season. And their schedule is very easy down the stretch. Not that ours isn't, but you know, they had the head start. I always thought the 1 seed was out of the question. So in a weird way, I'm almost glad they lost this game. Like, it sounds so weird, but I saw a lot of things that I'm just like, okay, like that's the things I want to see. Like Josh was fired up this game. I saw that Josh fire that I haven't seen since the Chiefs playoff game. Another infamous historical game that the Bills always come out on the wrong side of, and we'll talk about that in a second. How the Bills always seem to come out on the wrong side of these like game of the years. But Josh was on the sideline, like, let's go, like fired up and like showed a real passion. And not that he hasn't all season, but Josh is typically kind of to himself, introverted on the sideline, sits down, analyzes the play. What did I do wrong? What could have done better? Where was this missed or whatnot? He was fired up. And I think because now he's showing that emotion, he's showing it outwardly. Like, I think it's a real wake-up call for the team in a weird way, because this guy is accumulating for 6 touchdowns. He is week after week incredible. I mean, we see the memes and pictures of shots of guys on the sidelines just like in awe of Josh Allen and what he's doing at that time, like Keon Coleman or Dalton Kincaid or whoever, just being like, is this guy really doing what he's doing right now? I feel like in a weird way, because they lost, they're like, we're not stepping up our game. We need to step up for Josh Allen. Like, Josh is carrying this team. We need to do a better job. And I feel like this is a kind of a good thing. I don't know. I was trying to spin it in a positive way.
I mean, my dad always has this theory. He always looks at who loses and assumes that the next week they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like approached it that way. I was like, yeah, I know, yeah. And so I kind of approached that. I was like, well, we're gonna go into Detroit now even hungrier. So that's something,
right?
You know, it didn't seem like I was so impressed with the comeback, minus, you know, like a few hiccups, just like a very small amount of hiccups. And I'm sure we'll be talking about the you know, the quarterback rush, the tush push. I'm sure we talked the failed push in there. I'm sure we'll talk about. But like, I was so, you know, like we were so close. And like Josh said, you only have to make one more play than the opposing team, and we made one less play.
Right. And that's all it comes down to sometimes.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, yeah. So I mean, I think that we showed some cojones, and I like that we showed that. I like that even though it's a loss, we showed that we're not out of the top tier, because even though it's a loss, we showed such cojones in what we did and what we accomplished that I think it still sort of solidifies our place as a top tier team.
Absolutely. I don't. My opinion of this team does not change in any way after this loss. I do think there's a lot of things they need to clean up. They were down 17 points going into the fourth quarter and came back, despite getting, I think, a total of 1 stop on defense the entire game, which is crazy to me. But the offense was absolutely incredible, despite a lack of run game. Like I said, Josh really carried the team, because James Cook was non-existent. Ty Johnson was only existent in the pass game. Ray Davis, I don't think saw a carry this game. Very few snaps for Ray Davis, which was odd. Yeah, he didn't get a carry this game. So
yeah, maybe it just doesn't match up well. I mean, that was always like the worry going in. That was always the worry going into the Rams, right? Is that like we're undersized compared to what the Rams bring to the table, and so that might spell trouble. And you know, Ray Davis is a little guy, so
yeah.
I mean, I do think he's thick, but he's short. You know.
That's the system right there.
That's the system.
That's the system.
Thick but short.
That's the system. I do think like we need to obviously clean up some stuff, especially along the defensive line. It's been a concern for a couple weeks now, with teams kind of running effortlessly all over us. Guys like Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones even spoke about it this week of like, yeah, we need to step up now. So, or they have that, as you mentioned, the chip on their shoulder, because of how they're being viewed, I guess, in fandom and media and whatnot. And they got pushed around Sunday. They did. And they need to step up because it starts with them. And if you're looking at a team now whose secondary is a little banged up with Rasul Douglas being out and DeMar and Taylor Rapp and a lot of the secondary being out, which was really the core, in my opinion, as to why this defense was so successful is because their secondary was so good, especially those two cornerbacks and Benford and Douglas. Like, you need a defensive line to step up. And this week it was Chris Sims who said, like, the Bills just don't have, like, that game breaker type of defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of agree with them. And I've kind of always agreed with them of that sentiment of Vaughn in his prime probably would classify as this, but we don't have Vaughn in his prime. And the probably closest thing on the defensive line we have to a game breaker is Greg Rousseau. And he just like doesn't give you that consistent every snap, a threat to sack the quarterback, to make a play, to collapse the pocket, to change the game and change the play in some way. So that's my biggest concern is when we need a guy to step up. And sometimes it was at Oliver, like we talked about in the past, like Sean McVay, when the Rams won the Super Bowl, said Aaron Donald's going to make a play. Aaron Donald's making a play because he knew like that's the guy to make a play. And we didn't have that guy. And this was pre-Von Miller, obviously. And I said, well, we signed Von because we want Von to be that guy. And it's obviously clear he might not be, and he probably isn't. But
right, that was 3 years ago.
Closest guy,
you know, I mean,
yeah, we always said the closest guy was Ed Oliver, and Ed Oliver's having a bad season by Ed Oliver season's comparison. So I just don't know who that guy is to be the game breaker who, when we need a play, can get us a play. So defense definitely a concern moving forward with injuries.
I'm hoping that guy finds his way into being that guy again. That is Milano.
Right.
And
so that raises the question.
Enough of the rust gets shaken off over time. Do the Bills
he is very rusty.
Milano problem? I know he's very rusty.
Do they?
Understandably.
Understandably. I mean, he's been hurt for a majority of the past 2 seasons now.
Right.
But these past 2 weeks, he has looked lost to me. Like he almost is taking on the Tremaine Edmonds role, which is not something I want to see, of engaging with blockers unnecessarily. Like he's doing this thing where he's just like, instead of like finding the hole or shooting the gap or finding where the running back may cut to, or just diagnosing the play in some way, he's just running into blockers. And I'm like, no, don't you, like Tremaine did that and it never worked out. And Milano never did that. And maybe it's just, again, like you said, him shaking off the rust, getting back into the game. And the Bills, fortunately, are allowed that, having clinched a playoff spot, having clinched an AFC East division title, they have the ability to ease him into getting back to the level he needs to get back to.
That's true.
But he's been bad the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, but aren't there times where you're like assessing pre-snap and you're like, I kind of wish that was Dorian Williams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I say that to myself all the time. Not all the time, but like a lot of the time I'm like looking at the two formations and I'm like, I wish that was Dorian Williams right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm leery of what Matt Milano is going to produce or not produce.
Right, which is never a spot you want to be. Or
with any player.
With Matt Milano. Right. But there were times Sunday where I was like, and yes, Dorian Williams is a liability in pass coverage, but there were times where I'm like, man, Dorian Williams Sunday, I was thinking Dorian Williams' chaotic style, just like running around and finding the ball and flying around like chicken with his head cut off, as I like to describe, would have probably suited that game a little better. They could have just like just like caused some confusion, especially in the run game for the Rams. Like I would have liked to see Dorian Williams get more defensive snaps. But again, the Bills have the luxury of being in a playoff spot already and easing Milano into finding his game again. And I think that's what they're trying to do, despite his obvious deficiencies.
Yeah, I mean, that's like you said it. Like patience is justified with this one because of where we are. Yeah, and a virtue. Yeah. So I mean, I get it. Like when I'm out there, I just hope that the next time we record or in a few episodes when we record, we're like, I feel good. Matt Milano's back.
Yeah,
This is cool. Now.
I hope so too. Yeah,
right. I hope so too.
This is great. Him and Bernard are awesome together.
Right.
Because they really could be. If like old Matt Milano gets back, like Bernard is really good.
Right.
So that's a good question. Like, so the extensions that are coming up of some 4 main guys. Let's look at Gregory Rousseau, Khalil Shakir, James Cook, and Terrell Bernard. Like, where would you rank those in terms of priority as who to extend?
Shakir is 1.
In Benford too. We can put Benford in there too. So 5, really.
Okay, Shakir is 1.
Shakir is 1, obviously.
I feel like Benford is gonna be a bargain. I feel like we're gonna get value.
Really?
I kind of do, yeah. Yeah, I kind of do.
Why? Because he was a 7th round pick?
Yeah, that, like, lack of hype. He's under the radar. He's not like I don't think a lot of things are like driving his market up very much, outside of just like, do other GMs know? Yeah, I think
the GMs know he's really good.
Yeah, I think I could see. I think that the people who have the highest opinion of Benford's skills are in the building at One Bills Drive. Yeah. So I think that we would get like what we will think is good value for Benford.
I actually agree with that. And I think like Matt Milano, when his extension came up, I think he gave the Bills a hometown discount, being of the thought that, hey, I'm a 5th round pick. This team took a chance on me when all the other teams passed on me for a long time. Like, they developed me into something like more than I expected to be, or where the league expected me to be. I'm going to give them the discount because they trusted in me. I think we're going to see that same thing with Christian Bedford for sure.
Everyone was talking about Matt Milano, that free agency period. Everyone was saying like Matt Milano is the defensive player that you want. He's the prized possession that you get. And I don't think that will be happening with Benford. So I think
he's really good. He's really good.
I know he's really good.
The league's noticing. So Shakir, Benford, we get the discount on. See, like, I would go like Shakir, Benford, Bernard, and 2 or 3. Those can be interchangeable. Cook, and I would put Rousseau at last. I think Rousseau is going to demand. I think he's going to get the Tremaine Edmonds treatment, where he's probably not as good as the contract he's going to get, because teams see the heights and they see the skill set, which I think is still developing. But I don't know. I think he's going to price himself out of the Bills.
Yeah,
and I'll be okay with that, honestly.
I think I will too.
I want that game record. I want the TJ Watt. I want the Myles Garrett. I want the Micah Parsons. Give me the ultra athletic guy coming out of college who is just, and this is me still being scorned from not getting Brian Arakpo and getting Aaron Maven instead.
Yep.
Just
one of the
dude
most
who is
frustrating times of my life.
Yep. And just give me the guy who you see in the gym. You're like, that's a scary dude. That's a mean guy. That's an athletic freak who is going to dominate. The Javon Curse, the Brian Arakpo, just somebody who is ultra athletic. Give me a game wrecker. And they're out there. You can make them. It could be Javon Solomon. We don't know. Give that guy a year.
That's a good point.
What college
I think I agree with you. I think I agree with you depending on Cook's situation. Because running backs, I'm always like, paying running backs,
right.
And even then, Cook is fine.
He's really good. Like, I think he's more than fine. He's really good.
Yeah.
His burst, his the quickness he gets hitting top speed, like, is I've never seen in a Bills uniform before. I mean, CJ Spiller was fast, but that, like, going from 0 to 100, I feel like wasn't like CJ Spiller's game. He was more like quick, twitchy, and then he would be fast. James Cook can like stop and then just like get up to top speed really quick. It's like he's got all the coins in Mario Kart, like, and he can get up to top speed really quick. I think James Cook's really good. But yeah, I'm with you with running backs too. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the next year or two here with these extensions, and especially with salary cap and them being so tight as it is.
Well, they're tight now, but it opens up next year
with
without
Diggs'
the
contract
Diggs.
off the
Yeah,
books. Yeah. So we'll see what they do.
we'll
But
see. Mhm.
Matt Milano is an interesting case study because the question is, can he get back to the Matt Milano we know?
Right.
This is, again, like I said, this is 2 years now, major injuries coming back from. That's tough for any player. We saw with Tre'Davious White, 2 major injuries.
Yeah.
And he just was never the same. Now he's
Mhm.
on his like 3rd team in a year.
Mhm.
And I don't know. Like I hope it ain't so with Matt
And
Milano.
it's tough because there's a lot riding on this year. There's a lot riding on every year, but like we'll never, like we'll never know because there'll always be the excuse of like this year he's coming back, he's shaking the rust off, he's doing this, he's doing that, and then next year next year is when we'll really know. If he's bad next year, that's it. His career's toast.
Right.
And but it sucks because we have to go through that to find out.
It feels like, again, like I said, maybe this was a good wake-up call for guys who maybe need to step up a little. And I think Matt Milano is probably in that category because, like I said, this last 2 weeks, he's looked lost, and maybe not his own fault. Maybe it's just getting back up to speed. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think another problem, and by the way, listeners, viewers, thank you for tuning in. Witty Nation, joining Witty Nation. If you haven't yet, hit that like, hit that follow Built in Buffalo, like our show, hit the thumbs up, Facebook or YouTube, whatever you're watching. Speaking of problems, though, this is not a Sean McDermott hate segment, if you will.
Right.
He is a good coach. The Bills are 10-3. He is a good coach. I think overall there is about 10 good coaches in the NFL. The others are mediocre to bad.
Mm-hmm.
We could have like a Mike McCarthy or somebody and just be like miserable all the time without better offenses. Sean McDermott is a good coach. Does Sean McDermott also make bad decisions at the worst times? I think so. Sometimes in big games, as I mentioned before, like all these game of the years, biggest game of the seasons, Bills always come out or seemingly come out on the wrong end. But 3 instances in this game stick out to me when it comes to Sean McDermott's decision making. And if you want to talk about big brain theory, I can talk about that after this as well. One was to accept the penalty when the Bills stopped the Rams on 3rd down in the 4th quarter, late in the game. Instead of a 4th and 6 and maybe a chip shot-ish field goal, McDermott decides to take the penalty, back the Rams up. Now, keep in mind, your defense has not stopped this Rams offense all day. So there is no rhyme or reason to not think that the Rams will easily get those yards back on this play. That they did. So not only are you just giving the Rams the yards they got back anyway, you're also wasting time by giving the Rams an extra play. And time is of the essence at this point in time in the game. You're down a field goal and a touchdown, regardless of what the Rams do, you need to win the game. So you need time. And by accepting the penalty and giving the Rams an extra play, it wastes another, 10, 15 seconds. So that's number one. Number 2, QB sneak on the goal line. Absolutely right call. I know.
I agree.
People back and forth this week. Wrong call. They shouldn't have run it. They should have passed it to stop the clock. No. The QB sneak, tush push, whatever you want to call it, from 1 yard works 90% of the time with Josh Allen. And it might even be a higher rate than that. It was the absolute right call because of the success rate of that play. Now, yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Well, I was just going to say, these people are saying, no, that wasn't the right call. And like, I get it with the timeouts and everything, the strategy. Yeah, I get that strategy because you're giving up the timeout. You're sacrificing that. And they're the same people who are saying for years, criticizing Sean McDermott, saying they're not playing to win, they're playing not to lose.
Yeah.
And you got to play to win. That a play to win call was put in there.
Right.
Passing 3 times with a much lower likelihood of success, that's playing not to lose.
Yeah.
So they
Good
don't know
point.
shit. That's what I have to say about it.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely right call. I absolutely agree. That's a great point. Playing not to lose, but playing to win. The thing that bothers me is, again, time is of the essence. The only feasible way you can win that game at that moment in time is if you keep all 3 timeouts. If you don't keep all 3 timeouts, the Rams can run out the clock. You have to kick an onside kick, which has a very low likelihood of being recovered. You need all 3 timeouts. Now, a QB sneak from the 1-yard line that is unsuccessful is the same play again the next play. You are running a QB sneak no matter what. So, yes, team defenses might lay on guys and whatever. Like, get up, get lined up, and run the play again. It takes all of maybe a max 10 seconds at that point. And you need all 3 timeouts because, again, you're not going to win the game if you don't have all 3 timeouts. Rams run out the clock. You need to kick an onside kick. It's not like they just completed a 50-yard pass and everyone 300-pound lineman need to run down to clock the ball and you're wasting this time. No, stand up. You know what play you're running. Joe Brady should have been in Josh's head of like, we are running the QB sneak 4 times here.
Right.
If
as
it is
quickly as
unsuccessful,
possible.
As quickly as possible. If it is unsuccessful, get everyone up, get everyone lined up, which, again, shouldn't take very long because they're all right there, and run it. It takes a maximum of 10 seconds, and you probably would have been successful, which they were the second time around. Sean McDermott does not need to call a timeout there in any way. Third, because he called a timeout and because they needed to kick an onside kick and because they essentially let the Rams run out of the clock, the final punt for the Rams was 7 seconds. Sean McDermott, Matt Smiley, whoever is in charge, I don't care if there's 11 guys out there. I don't care if there's 3 guys out there. There happen to be 9 guys out there. That is the final play of the game. There is no other play. An average punt hang time, especially from that distance, is 5+ seconds on average. It takes 1 second to probably get from the snapper to the kicker or the punter. It takes 1 second for the rest to blow the whistle. That is at minimum 7 seconds, and time is done, if not more. You tell Brandon Codrington, this is the final play, no matter what. If the ball is in play, you are returning it because that is our only chance to win this game. And what is Brandon Codrington? He just lets it go, and it hits the ground, and the game's over. You say, if it is 9 yards deep in the end zone, you are returning it. That is our only chance to win the game. I don't know why you wouldn't say that. So, again, those 3 things stick out the most to me. And if you want to go big brain theory, what they really should have done after Khalil Shakir makes an amazing play of getting the pass interference called on him, against him, whatever, they should have kicked a field goal right then and there. And then had the time, and then hopefully they get 3 stops, and then Josh has around, if you clock it out, around 30 to 40 seconds to score a touchdown.
Right.
So,
and I like that a lot. I like that. And I like the idea of putting the pressure on Josh more than Bass.
Right.
And even knowing knowing it's in play, like as a thing, you know.
Right. So those are the 3 things that stick out to me. Just like when he called that timeout after the first QB sneak was unsuccessful, I lost my mind. The refs blew the whistle, and I'm like, we're not calling a timeout, right? Like, this can't be us because we need those timeouts. Like, I understood that as a casual fan sitting on my couch. I need my head coach to understand these very seemingly simple concepts.
Right.
And not put my team in a position to have a low likelihood of winning.
Time is tough. I mean, everything is hindsight because especially with clock management, with time management, to say like it's only going to take 10 seconds to reset. That's all hindsight, and you can say it would only do that, and who really knows? That's what I would say.
True. It's all hindsight. Like, I'm just thinking logically of like, okay, it's not like, again, these guys don't have to run 30 yards down the field to clock the ball or whatever.
Right.
They're just literally. They're right there. All they need to do is stand up, line up, and snap the ball, and very quickly at that. And you can do that in what?
I'm not saying you're not wrong. I'm just saying we have no way of knowing you're right.
But I'm saying Sean McDermott was wrong, and we do know Sean McDermott was wrong because we lost the game, and we didn't even have a chance to win the game. So I might not be right, but we know Sean McDermott was wrong.
Mm-hmm. If it was Sean McDermott, I also think that with some of that, probably not with the timeouts, but I think with some of the play calling, maybe I put more on Brady. I think Sean McDermott's taking a lot of heat for Brady that maybe is undeserved.
Really? You think Brady is at fault for scoring 42 points?
No, not in the big picture.
I thought the play calling was
big
fantastic.
Picture. Not in the big. No, I thought Brady was fantastic too. But I mean, in terms of the synergy between McDermott and Brady to say like, hey, this is gonna, if he doesn't make it, this is gonna be a timeout, or if he doesn't make it,
that's a good point.
Going to be a timeout. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the synergy of the coach, and we've seen synergy of coaching in McDermott kind of become an issue in the past too. Like he hasn't been always on the same page as Leslie Frazier. He's taken over play calling. Like we know this stuff. But I thought Joe Brady was like called a fantastic game.
Me too.
Not that Josh Allen wasn't incredible in executing that game plan and those plays, but specifically on the play, the Ty Johnson touchdown screen when he faked the bubble screen to Shakir, which they've run how many 50 times this year,
right?
Threw the whole Rams team off and then faked that bubble screen to Shakir and then went back opposite way to Ty Johnson. I thought that was a wonderful play call, and I thought Brady did a great job. But yeah, I tweeted earlier in the week of Sean McDermott saying, looking back at it when he's in his media, like that's his opening line of when they ask him a question about his decision making. He's like, well, looking back at it, I'm like, well, that's his like magnum opus. That's his like, call me Ishmael. That's his call me Ishmael. That's his, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Like that's his like go-to line. I just don't want Sean McDermott to say like, well, we need to look at it, or, looking back on it. Like, no, just correct your mistakes. Stop repeating your mistakes. That's all I'm asking. Not to say I'm like the end all be all.
I think there's been a stretch of that. I think we've seen that this year. I think even the way that he played it, like we said, he was playing to win, not to lose. He was playing to win, not to not lose. And I think that we've seen more evidence of that this year, and in this game included.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work out this one. Yeah.
Just didn't work out. The defense, I think we saw, at least on the defense side of the ball, what happens when the Bills get, how do I put this correctly, get out of their traditional scheme of like zone. Like they had two very good receivers in Kupp and Nakua who were firing on all cylinders and making every play possible. And even DeMarcus Robinson's a good receiver in his own right. So the Rams have a lot of good weapons, but like when, I forget who mentioned it earlier, when the teams force the Bills defense to play man, like they don't know how to counterpunch. Like when they're out of theirs, when teams know how to expose the zone, and when we're not getting a pass rush, it's just kind of like a snowball effect of bad. So I think just the Rams and their style just kind of expose the Bills. Now we're not going to run into that every week. We might run into it this week with the Lions.
Into it next week.
We might run into this week, but there's not a lot of teams out there that have like two all-pro receivers and an extremely good running game. Kyron Williams is one of the most efficient running backs in the league. He scores practically a touchdown a week. So we might get it with the Rams because Ben Johnson is very good, and we might get it with the Lions because Ben Johnson's very good offensive coordinator. They have a two-headed monster in Gibbs and Montgomery at running back, and they have a really good receiving and weapons core with Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, and like it's going to be tough for the Bills this week. So the offense is awesome. Josh is awesome. Continues to play at an MVP level. Just incredible performance from him. Just making every throw. That Mac Hollins touchdown throw was just so money, and he doesn't even know it. Swinger style. Josh is amazing. Like, again, as I mentioned earlier in the show, to watch this guy, and I said it before, and Tony, you kind of scoffed at me of like, we're watching the greatest player ever to play for the Buffalo Bills.
I didn't scoff. I just don't want to jinx anything, basically.
That's a good way. That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So wrapping up, unless there's other observations you had about the Rams game, but kind of big picture, we lost. It happened. 7-game win streak is over. We still are a wagon on offense. Now, what is it? 8 straight games of 30-plus points, I believe. The defense needs to shore up.
Yeah.
The defense needs to shore it up, and we know that. So with that, all that being said, how are you feeling going into the final 4 games of the season and ultimately going into the playoffs? Do you feel like they peaked too early? Do you feel like teams now have a way and a blueprint to beat them? Do you feel still pretty good and optimistic about this team?
I feel even more optimistic because
I like it. Yeah, so do I.
These are even more opportunities for us to plan, for us to learn. You don't learn very much from blowouts,
Right.
So it's even more opportunities for us to plan, for us to learn, for us to tighten up, for us to realize our deficiencies, to work on those.
Do you think that's why they brought Micah Hyde back? Is they realized they had a safety deficiency?
Kind of, yeah, I do.
And he's good vibes.
And he's great vibes.
Yeah.
Micah Hyde, like when he was in his interview, I'm like, Micah Hyde has a future in politics that he doesn't even know about,
Right.
He
I thought
good energy. He brings a positive energy and a smart energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. When I listened to him in the media this week upon his return, I was like, this is very much setting up for in the next 2 years, Micah Hyde is going to be the Bills safeties coach.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, and I have no problem with that here.
I don't have a problem with that either, but I think this is like a trial run of like, hey, come on in, be on the practice squad. If we're in a pinch, we'll call you up. But really, we want you to teach these guys how to play safety correctly. It's a young group. Bishop, Rapp, Hamlin, all young guys. They got a lot to learn. I really think this is just setting him up to be a safeties coach in a year or two.
Yeah.
Which is perfectly fine.
Which is fine. Yeah, I agree.
We'll just have celebrity softball games for the rest of our lives, which is awesome.
Actually, I didn't think about that, but that's a great point.
Any other thoughts? How are you feeling about this Lions game coming up now?
50-50.
Yeah, me too.
There's
the chip on the shoulder aspect. There's also like the gambling aspect of when teams get a big loss, they seem to rebound. And the Bills, in reality, do this a lot too. You remember like the Hail Murray or other big losses in the past. The Bills have really responded pretty well from those in the following weeks. So I don't think they're going to win this game. With the asterisks of, I think they're going to go on a tear the final 3 weeks of the season going into the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think that I'm looking forward to it, to seeing if this is, I don't know, this is where we really find out the truth, about our own aspirations.
Maybe.
Well, sooner or later, you got to play the Lions.
Right. Hopefully in the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of what I meant. All right, wrap this thing up.
We're talking about responses and stuff. We'll see how they respond. Before we wrap up, Tony, of course, we have to do our minute of how great is T-Wolf Khalil Shakir this week. I'll start it off. Get the clock at the timer. Here we go. Khalil Shakir is great because he was in the Shane Buechele baby announcement picture with he's in the inner circle, if you will. He's in with Josh and Haley and Dawson Knox. Tyler Bass was in there for some reason. I don't know why. It's just like a charity thing, I guess. But Khalil Shakir is like borderline celebrity status now.
I guess that would be the case. Yeah, as much of a celebrity as Shane Buechele is, at least.
The biggest of them all.
Right.
I'm just I'm happy Khalil's
You're
part
happy
of
he's like
the game.
You're happy he's in the popular group.
I feel like we're gonna get in this offseason. Remember the picture of Josh and Christian Kirk and Kyle Allen eating churros in Disneyland?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I feel like Khalil Shakir is at churro level now.
Yeah, okay.
With Josh. And I like that. I just want my greatest quarterback of the franchise and the greatest receiver of the franchise history to be synonymous with each other.
Right. That's fair.
On a churro loving level. And I feel like we're there. That's my minute.
Yeah, we're there. Okay. I feel how it is.
Tony, how great is Khalil Shakir this week?
He's fine. I have nothing to add to this. We all know it. This minute is your minute. This
minute is everyone's minute.
Okay,
Everyone to praise the hero of Khalil Shakir. All right, let's wrap it up, Tony. Thank you, of course, to our www.travelinggrowler.com. Quality koozies starting at just $5. Shop local, support local. Get all those cool designs. Travelinggrowler.com. Great stocking stuffer for the holiday season. Make sure you get yours today. Thank you, everyone, for viewing, tuning in. If you haven't yet, please hit that like, hit that thumbs up, hit that follow, hit that subscribe. We appreciate all the love. If you're listening to this on audio, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your fine podcast for free on the Built in Buffalo Podcast Network. We always like to say whether you give us 2 minutes or 2 hours of your time, we greatly appreciate it, and we truly do. So please, if you could take 1 second, hit that like and show us some love for the nonsense we bring to this show. We really appreciate it. And thank you again for sticking with us for the 7 hours of naming the Bills' top 100 wide receivers of all time. Just true fans you guys are, so thank you for sticking with us there.
They don't understand the sacrifices that we make for them to produce content.
It's like I said, it's a marathon. It really is.
Today really was a marathon.
Absolutely. If you have not yet, make sure you check out teespring.com, search Witty Not Funny all one word, or Google search Teespring Witty Not Funny. Check out the store today. T-shirts, crew necks, hoodies, long sleeves, we got them all cool designs, all original. All pop culture references in case you don't get the gist of the show yet. But make sure you get something for your Bills Mafia friends or family this holiday season, or not this holiday season, just any time of the season. Great gift for your Bills Mafia member in your life there. Boom. Twitter handles where you can find us on X, Twitter at WittySports716. Yes, we still call it Twitter, just like we still call it the Ralph. Instagram at WittySports716, or TikTok, Facebook, Witty Not Funny Sports. Make sure you follow us on all platforms. We love following back. Bills Mafia, Saber Source People, trademark pending. Make sure you give us a follow, show some love. And that's all I got. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to joining Witty Nation this week. As we always say, go Bills, and of course, stay witty out there, everyone. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Bye.
Sabres, please win. Bye. Stop.